quote is, "I took a stranger's advice and confessed to my manager. I was sure I'd be fired. Instead, Disney agreed to give me my chance to pay it back and left me with a strong, formal warning."
Dude, I'll tell you this. If he was straight, his would have been fired. I'll tell you that right
This would have been
now.
on the news in handcuffs, cuz you ain't going out.
Bro. Dude, I can't believe they tell your manager.
They didn't even fire him.
Yeah.
He told his manager, "I spent $25K on drugs," and he was like, "It's cool. It happens."
He's like, look,
Damn.
just $25K? I mean, Goofy was blowing $100K a year on blow, you know?
I'm sure it's all going to work out in the end, because if there's one thing I've learned in my lifetime, when you're dealing with drug addicts, you avoid responsibility and consequences and always give them a second chance. It never backfires, ever.
Have you ever heard of a guy who played a piano with his name's Zelensky and is taking all your tax dollars? He literally became president, was a comedian, and there's footage of him in a comedic act playing the piano with his pistol. He's whacking the keys with his.
That kind of makes me like him, that he did that.
For all you small critters, you crumbs, you bums that have been waiting for the birds to lose, you're welcome. You get one. This is the Working Perspective 4th Street production poppin'. Me, my friends of the best team in football. I don't know if you noticed, I feel a little different. The best team in football, if you guys forgot. Matthew, the meaty middle linebacker, Lavelle. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Super excited to get this thing going, my man.
Liam, the blind side left lineman, Reese. Please tell me you don't like the 49ers anymore.
Nah, not 49ers, man. All birds, dude. And it was one loss, so everybody calm down with this Mariota nonsense. Oh my God, dude, get over it.
I can't wait till later because you guys finally got one. You waited all season. The Jets one, it was like, all right, you waited all season for a good team to like beat us, and they beat us. Okay, they got one. You take your L's like a man, but don't get twisted. We'll be back. We best team in the NFL. You better calm down. Goddard coming back. Let's go.
And now if the Niners see us again, they got to do it twice in a row. Good luck.
Let's go.
Yeah. Also, they just woke the beast. This is the kind of kicking in the butt we needed.
Dallas.
So for the rest of the NFL, you can go shove it. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. Let's get this thing started. Let's go.
Share and subscribe. Would you share it? Would you share it? Would you share it? Working Perspectives.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, coming today by strong Sam Steve Cabot and Houshmandzadeh Liam Reese. On this show, we're going to bring you topics from around the globe. The topics are going to fall under 3 different categories. The categories are Stupid Is as Stupid Does, Incredibly Incredible, and Sports and Spin. We're going to kick it off with the first category, which is Stupid Is as Stupid Does, going to my main man, Liam Houshmandzadeh Reese. Liam, what do you got for Stupid Is as Stupid Do?
All right, guys. So it's getting cold out. It's that time of year and everything. And I would think in Copenhagen, Denmark, it's probably even colder, right? I mean, I'm not a meteorology major, but I think it's like extra cold there.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
So all these people like out in Europe, all over the world, you know what I mean? We're pushing electric vehicles and everything. And that's, whatever. I don't really feel one way or another about it.
Right.
But when you have lithium ion batteries, what happens to it? Like you leave it out in the work truck overnight, it's freezing cold out. What happens when you go to pop that battery back in your drill or you put it on the charger or something? You get an error message that the battery's too cold.
Okay.
Well, this unnamed nitwit in Copenhagen, Denmark, placed a toaster under his electric vehicle to try to warm up the battery because he was so desperate to get his car to start because obviously it was too cold for the battery to even kick on and everything. And it's not like, pulling a little 12-volt battery out, bringing it inside and heating it up real quick, you know?
Oh my God.
So desperate to warm this battery up, he puts a toaster, runs an extension cord out to his driveway, puts a toaster under the car. Toaster sits there for God knows how long, and it sets the car on fire.
Oh.
And the house next door. And the fire department had to come out and put all this stuff out, you know. So now the police are strongly discouraging people from using this method to heat their power cells and everything. And yeah, so what do you guys think of that? So
I mean,
bad
he
news.
really, really burnt the bread on that one, huh, guys? You
Yeah,
know,
he sure did.
Listen,
Not
he's saving gas money. He's saving the environment. He just set off the most toxic smoke signal the world's ever seen. Because if you think burning rubber tires or gasoline's bad, try lighting a lithium battery on fire. 'Cause I'm not sure if you understand what they do when those things die. They have to bury them in the ground because there's no other way to dispose of them unless you want to light the most toxic flare you can see from Earth. I can see aliens being like, these idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're that's pretty bad. I mean, dude, did they say the brand of car, Liam, or they just said an electric car?
It just said an electric car.
Okay.
And so I was wrong. I said he put it out to his driveway. He had one of those like car ports. You know what I mean? It's like not so much a garage, but you can put your car under it and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's so what happened was the flat roof above it that went up, and then I think that's how his neighbor's house went up. Could you imagine coming out, your neighbor's house is fine, but this nitwit put a toaster under his car and now your house is on fire?
Oh my gosh.
And listen, I understand the premise. I can kind of follow him, right? So I can follow this super sped from my house and then down to the city, and we're almost at the stadium. But that's where he goes right and I go left, right? Where do you think? Have you ever held your hands over a toaster?
Yeah.
Like what kind of heat did he think was going to generate from a toaster under the car? Like, you were clearly playing with what, I don't know, the 30 in this deck. It ain't a full deck at all. No way.
No way. Dude, yeah.
The hell was he heating? Dog, it heats bread. And it takes a while.
Yeah.
Bread.
Yeah. He was probably thinking like, okay, it'll get a little warm, but it won't be too hot that it burns it. Bro, you shouldn't put fire anywhere near that stuff.
Nope.
And it's like common sense. You put the toaster underneath. The heat is hitting the battery now, and now the heat has nowhere to go when it gets too hot.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do that, then I guess put the toaster next to it, maybe a little small fan behind it, like push warm air under the car, then maybe it'll thaw out. Might take a little while, but better than lighting all this stuff on fire. You know?
Dude, yeah.
Listen, hindsight's a little better, but this sped, I don't think would ever come up with that type of plan. He was working with, not the most brain cells.
No, absolutely not.
I'm pretty sure if I huffed nitrous, I could still come up with a better plan to keep the car warm than sticking the toaster underneath it.
Dude, I just don't know, like, what was, I mean, was his thought process like, he was like, this always worked when I drove a gas car. Now they got an electric. It's like, what the heck? I wonder, too, like, what he was doing that was taking so long. I can imagine that he's like, all right, only leave it up there for a couple minutes. He put the toaster in there, went in to drop some heat, and he's in there, like, watching, Stranger Things on his phone, gets carried away, and he's like, oh, no, my car!
He goes and falls asleep.
Yeah. He's like, oh no. But yeah, man. All right. Well, that guy's a moron. And he's from Denmark. So shout out. Fan of the show, listen to the show.
Yeah.
But very good stuff, Liam. Let's keep it moving. Steve, what do you got for Stupid Is as Stupid Does?
So we got ourselves a nice Armenian boy, son of immigrants, moves to the wonderful country of America. What do? They hobble down in California. He gets a job at Disney. Every kid on the planet seen Disney. This is what he wanted to do his whole life, right? He's all into it. He dances around. He wears a jacket like me. Maybe we don't know what team this guy plays for at this point. Mm-hmm. He goes to Disney, develops a severe meth habit. Well, the problem is he's a smart feller. So he has a very nice job there making photo passes, to get in front of the line thing. I forget what they call it.
Yeah.
He's doing the photo pass thing. He's making like 150 racks a year in Cali, which probably isn't that big anyway. He's making enough money, right? He gets a company credit card. And what does my man do? He wipes up $24,000 in drugs and fun. I don't know if you can buy fun in drugs and fun. So he does this Of course, he feels guilty about it. He already knows. He says in his head he wanted to pay it back, and he was always going to intended to do that. But of course, it spun out of control, right? I'm at $5,000. I'll get it back. Then it moves to 7. Then it moves to 8. Then he starts bringing up the fact that he's an Armenian and he's an immigrant. He's helping his family out. A bunch of them live in one house. So he's just taking a little extra cash, even though he makes $160,000 a year. Still California, not that much. Taking the bread. Besides, some asshole tells him that he should tell the manager. So what's he do? Of course, is he tells the manager. And the manager reports him. What's Disney do? Finds out he's gay and doesn't fire him, tells him it's okay, gives him a stern warning, and will deduct some money out of his paycheck every month. I'm sure it's probably like $1.
What?
And my man still has a job, and now they went on this whole spiel about how it's like saving him and he's so great and this, that, the other thing. So I want to know, the story, whatever you want. I want to know how long till this man gets another credit card.
Yeah.
And we going back to the bangers.
This dude definitely hasn't stopped blowing ice. You know what I mean? Like, this guy been cutting glass this whole time. This is
he made a
crazy.
whole spiel about how he went to rehab. And it was, I think they said his 7th or something. And he was like, I couldn't believe Disney let me get my job. And we're ready. Hold on, ready for that? I actually have the quote. The quote is, he knew, he spent all the money. I took a stranger's advice and confessed to my manager. I was sure I'd be fired. Instead, Disney agreed to give me my chance to pay it back and left me with a strong, formal warning.
Dude, I'll tell you this. If he was straight, his ass would have been fired.
His ass would have been on the news in handcuffs, cuz you ain't going out easy.
Dude, I can't believe the tell your manager.
They didn't even fire him.
Yeah.
He told his manager, I spent $25,000 on drugs, and he was like, it's cool, man. It happens.
He's like, look, just $25,000. I mean, Goofy was blowing $100,000 a year on blow. Like, come on, Pluto. That guy's been whacking H for years. I mean, I can't, dude. I cannot. This is unbelievable. This is how woke goes broke narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, this is bad business on anything. Right? Like, hey, you can send him to rehab. If Disney was really wanted to help this guy, they'd send him to rehab, but don't put him back in the same position that got him in this in the first place, because it's just habit forming, and he's going to go right back to what he was doing. If they want to send him to rehab, fine. If they want to expunge him of the debt because it's Disney and they got trillions and trillions, fine. But to say like, oh, we're going to let him keep his job too, no. That's no way. Absolutely not.
I'm sure it's all going to work out in the end, because if there's one thing I've learned in my lifetime, when you're dealing with drug addicts, you avoid responsibility and consequences and always give them a second chance. It never backfires ever.
And this guy was so funny about it too. Like, he was putting out in the presser, his little press release, he was all, you know what? I'd love being around such creative people in such a creative environment. No shit, you're on meth.
Yeah.
If I would have smoked a ton of trees and been in the goddamn planetarium and that was my job, now I'm gonna be happy to go to work. I'm going there high and show little kids the stars on the goddamn planetarium. But what do you mean?
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Go through Space Mountain, geeked out of your skull. Of course he loves it there.
Of course it's awesome.
Yeah, dude. You kidding me? He's whacked and going on the Pirates of the Caribbean. Of course his job is the
loving
best.
every second of it.
Dude, he's probably been getting piped down by, Aladdin like 6 times a day. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Come on. Yo, him and Jafar been doing it.
Listen, the Magic Kingdom is magic.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, real good stuff, Steve. Really like it. Smoosh, going back to you, we're going to go down to Incredibly Incredible. What do you got for Incredibly Incredible?
Dude, this judge in Ohio is incredibly incredible. A judge has ordered Rosemary Hain, 39-year-old. She now has to work a fast food job for 2 months as a way to like work off some of her. So she was given a 180-day sentence, 90 days suspended, leaves you with 90 days left. Yeah. She can do 30 if for 2 of the months she'll work at a fast food joint. What this lady did is she went into a Chipotle, ordered her food and everything. She gets the food, they hand it to her. She looks at it and she doesn't like it. And she does what any sensible person would do in this situation. And she fires it right back at the person who made it.
Stop.
And when she throws the burrito at the person, apparently the burrito was hot enough to injure this worker. So she got like arrested, you know what I mean? charged and everything. And this judge is pretty awesome because you have all these entitled assholes that come into all these places and everything and treat like wait staff and workers like crap. Listen, if they get it wrong, then you just tell them. But some of these people like take it like above and beyond. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, dude, this is wrong. You know, if they keep getting it wrong, then it's pretty simple. You just don't go there. You know, but the people who like go out of their way to like give these people crap, I think, you know, like I could get behind this as like punishment going forward. Like, let's do it, man. This judge is awesome.
Dude,
Judge Timothy Gilligan, his name is. Guy's the best.
Dude, I could not agree more. I've always said, and I think I heard this on a Daniel Tosh stand-up one time where he said that everyone needs to work in the service industry, any type of service, where it could be like, you know, if it's at a restaurant or if you're working at like, you know,
fixing your car,
right? Like a mechanic shop where you're working in a customer service fashion. They need to work in that job like that for at least a year to realize that their ranch dressing isn't that fucking important. You know what I mean? Like, dude, there's been so many times at the bar that like the bar is a little different because I can motherfuck somebody and they can't do nothing about it. Right. But like working at like a restaurant where you just got to eat shit off these people and they run you and they don't even fucking tip you. Like it's been so many times like that. So this person to even think that type of behavior is okay. I so agree with this. Could not agree more. Absolutely love what this judge is doing, giving her a little piece of her own medicine because she definitely deserves it. Because there's no excuse to go into, like, if someone's being like a bastard to you and like being ignorant and rude, that's one thing. But if you're going in there with like a cunt attitude and you just want to be a bitch, go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying?
She even tried to like justify it in court. She like argued that like, you know, well, last week I got it was so good, and this week it was like disgusting. I'm not eating that, like disgusting. And then the judge like tore her a new one, you know what I mean, and gave her and threw 90 days at her and told her like work in the place or sit for 90 days.
Like if she like, I'm not saying, hey, look, you didn't like it, don't ask for another one. Fine, that's fine. But there's no excuse to throw it in somebody's face, especially too like they have hot sauce there and the food is probably hot, right? Like you're saying, like that shit, man, that ain't gonna be good for nobody. Good for her. I'm glad that she got this shit.
And that's how people get beaten to death. You know what I mean? Like that could have ended way worse.
Yeah.
Like
they got knives back there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That could have been way worse. Somebody fires that at you. You do that to the wrong person, dude. That lady's lucky that all she's getting is the 30 days in jail and having to work there and stuff.
Funny you just said that. That's all that went through my head the whole time you two was talking about this was that is the easiest sentence I've ever seen. I'm sorry. I may or may not have allegedly been in jail before. It is way fucking worse than any of your fast food service industry bullshit. Send that lady to the can. She threw a hot burrito in a broad's face. I don't need her making sandwiches. I want her to go eat dog food at the penitentiary and get leashed around like a goddamn slave. That's what I want her to do. Not be so fucking making sandwiches.
Isn't she?
Dog, people take the craziest jobs out of jail just so they don't have to be in jail.
But the fact that jail's that bad that they're willing to, like, there's some guys who are like, fine, just get me out of here. I'll work myself to the bone for $1.73 for a whole day's work. Yeah. No,
and having to sit around with the jerk offs that don't want to work. You know, the humans that don't do it and just sit in that area the entire day. Yeah. Those bulls are wild. Like that's you might as well be in like the sped sled rubber room. That is wild.
Yeah, it's adult daycare for morons.
It is.
That's what
Montgomery
County is.
Yeah. County is absolutely daycare for retards.
I mean, I do like she is getting some prison time, but I do like she's getting a taste of her own medicine. I do like that.
Yeah,
you know,
I would if I wanted to do this. I know you can't do this. He's got parameters, but he should make her work like a 20-hour straight shift or something wild.
Yeah,
not like you know what I mean. It's not like the last 10 hours. She's so beat down, can't do this anymore.
She got to work
oh
overnight
my god, you
at
put
McDonald's.
onions in mine.
Yeah,
she's like,
and
I'll redo it.
You have to somehow. You have to somehow manage a monthly budget, making $7.25 an hour. You know like really put the screws to her, dude.
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world.
Got to ride the bus
for sure. All right, good stuff though. Real good stuff. Steve, going to you. What do you got for incredibly incredible?
Let me take off all this because
taking off the gimmick.
Let me do this. This is very American and hits home. I don't want to wear this weirdo shit when I do this. Shout out Sean Day, right? So they just tried to pass this thing in Congress, our boy Sean Day, the Douglas Mike Day Psychedelic Therapy to Save Life's Act 2023, right? It's a bill they're pushing through Congress, starting in Texas, going up to the Department of Defense, where they're trying to approve a controlled, obviously, and monitored use of psilocybin and psychedelics for people with PTSD. Matt, this will hit home.
Yeah.
People like really help guys who were in some shit, like you see your old man, everything else, the way these people did it. So they put this bill through. The guys that put this bill through, by the way, just let me make sure I say this correctly. One happens to be Dan Crenshaw, Lieutenant Commander of SEAL Team 3, Texas congressman, lost his goddamn eyeball on his third deployment that everybody knows. Yes. Are you kidding me? Lost his eyeball. So you can complain about how your cell phone doesn't get good reception.
So you can throw
in
burritos
America.
in people's faces.
God damn it, right? So you can steal golden toilets.
Yeah.
Next guy on this one, the other guy from Texas, happens to be Morgan Luttrell, an absolute animal, a 14-year SEAL veteran. And I don't know, you guys might know his twin brother, Marcus, who was the lone goddamn survivor. The other Texas congressman, right? Shout out Texas. They got Dan Crenshaw and Morgan Luttrell, a Navy SEAL and a Navy SEAL, as their Republican congressman. We will say to them guys
Texas
on the floor, let's go, Texas, right?
If Dallas wasn't in Texas, it'd be the best place ever.
To hold the highest regard, those two absolute legends. Next one, this guy, Lieutenant General. That's a 3-star, by the way. So if you don't understand, a 4-star is you run everything. To have 3-star, a Lieutenant General of the Marines. This old head, Jack Bergman, 40-year career as a Marine, is also a Texas congressman. Or no, he's a Michigan congressman who flew helicopters in Vietnam like a maniac.
Dang.
And also all through Korea, right? Dude's a legend. China, everywhere. This bull's another legend. But they're, obviously it just got put into as a bill when it just got introduced. I think it was yesterday. But when they introduce it, if this comes out Friday, it was midweek of this week, whatever. They introduced it. Now it has to, obviously, it goes to the House. They're going to vote on it. If it passes the House, it goes to the Senate. If the Senate passes it, it goes to the president. If the president passes it, it goes to law. If at any point it gets vetoed, it goes back to the next stage. Then you need a 3/4 vote to like override the veto from the one in front. You know how fucking Congress works. Now I sound like I'm a dork. But so this bill just got introduced in Sean's brother's name, which is so fucking sick. And, for all of us to hear that. And I saw it today. I was so jacked to see it. Sent a message to Sean, and hopefully this gets passed. That'd be dope because they've had great results with like some of the psychedelic stuff, which has had the just like the what do they call it? The reefer mania. The way they vilified holistic drugs such as like, mushrooms and psilocybin and marijuana, but they'll pump Oxycontin and mood enhancers
Butrin and all that.
All this wild shit down your throat.
We don't even have enough time to list everything. You know what I mean?
Right. And you see things like one of the things, the big thing with like Morgan, he had some PTSD. He treated it with psychedelic experiences and also Ibogaine, right? And Ibogaine, again, you can listen to Pfizer and Merck and all these million. Ibogaine came from guys in the jungle that were there for what some people think 10,000 plus years. Because you just don't take Ibogaine and like create the soup. You have to mix it with another thing. You have to like warm it up. For them to figure out with all the plants and everything. No, this is a holistic thing that's happened forever. That like helps to like reset the brain.
Ayahuasca.
No. There's ayahuasca and Ibogaine are different, but they're very similar with like their properties. Both considered in like the psychedelic field of stuff. All have like different hallucinations. I forget. It's like I forget. Now I'm gonna sound terrible, but they're very similar. And the other one is DMT. Which I think is the Mexa for I don't know.
Yeah.
But all that stuff.
Name.
Things like this that don't have addiction rates, don't have constant use things, things that Big Pharma would never use because I only have to use it once or twice, then we're okay. Or if
they don't have fentanyl in it, for Christ's sake.
Nope.
I keep saying the wrong name, but ayahuasca, I think they say like ayahuasca. They'll like send people there who like are addicts, then they'll take it and like they have success. Like people like don't have the cravings they had. We went over there.
Yeah, we had a guy on the show who was a Marine.
A shaman.
He was
not a shaman, but went over in there.
He was a Marine in Afghanistan and everything like that. Had a pretty rough experience. Came back and dude, when he first came back, he was legit like Cobra, like G.I. Joe, like like straight off, like straight
Dialed in.
like special forces guy to a T. Like you would see him, you'd be like, that guy is, whatever. Dude, he started experiencing with ayahuasca and things like that, and he has a shaman, and it completely changed his life. He's a totally different person now, and he's living he's never been happier. He's living his best life, and he's never been healthier mentally or physically. So, dude, I'm a big proponent.
So many people talk about it.
Plus, dude, what's the harm in trying? Like, these guys are all like, they're miserable. These guys. There's no harm in trying. It's in getting this going and working with the psilocybin. The downside of the psilocybin is like it's next to nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a habit forming. It's not detrimental to your physical health, right? If any, it's like really, really, and it's kind of cost effective in a way if you're going to test, so I mean, I'm totally for this. Anything to help the troops. We completely support the troops on this show. And I love that, Mike Day's getting his day in the sun because he deserves it.
And just a small sidebar for anyone that's listening. Ayahuasca is the craziest of all of them because you throw up violently for like 45 minutes after they give you the tea. Then you hallucinate like you can't imagine for 10 hours.
Damn.
So it's like there's like DMT, which is a little bit you hit the thing and like you like hover, but that's only a couple. It's almost like nitrous. It's gone in like 2-3 minutes.
Dude,
but
I want to do the 10 hours, man.
Ayahuasca, but like the beginning of it's the wild part. If you ever like YouTube it and see the ceremonies, like the real ones, like you went to a shaman, you're down in like Peru. These bulls lay on the floor and are like convulsing, vomiting and whatnot in the beginning because it's not good. It's what you get out of it is insanely incredible.
Nice, good stuff.
Changed humans.
Love it. Good stuff. Let's keep it moving.
Shout out Sean Day.
Shout out Sean Mike Day. R.I.P. Mike Day. But let's keep it moving, Steve. I'm going to go back to you. What do you got for sports and sped?
This shit is wild. So tell me, you fellas remember TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Houshmandzadeh. Yeah, Houshmandzadeh. Put him on the board.
Yeah, put him on the board.
Put him on the board. I mean, one of the most unforgettable names. Had the hair, the swag, and the skill to back it up.
Yeah.
And the skill to back it up.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
Legit, right?
Dude, that Bengals team was fucking crazy.
Sick. Ocho Cinco, say less.
Yeah.
So anyway, 53-year-old Annette Marie is a stalker for TJ Houshmandzadeh.
What?
And has been menacing his life and his family's lives since 2015, right? So in 2015, he put down a restraining order because this broad was so crazy. She at one point sent a message to him that said she had several bullets inscribed with the names of each member of the Houshmandzadeh family, right? She's that crazy. So, and he's never even met this broad. So he cuts her, immediately puts a restraining order on her. She's bizarre. Blah, blah, blah. So the restraining order runs out in 2019 because apparently those or whatever the order was, I don't know how this works, but there's a expiration date that runs out. And then what does she do? Gets a little crazy. She leans in a little bit in the beginning. And then once she gets that momentum running downhill, you know how when you run downhill, you just lean forward and let your legs move. You know what I mean? Once she gets moving, what does she do? She legally turns her last name into Houshmandzadeh.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So she's now Annette Marie Houshmandzadeh.
Oh my God.
So he had to send another restraining order out on her just recently. And it wants to have a full background and find out what is she trying to get loans out, acting like she's related to me or marrying me? I don't know. Who knows what's happening, but somehow legally they let this absolute sped of a brajul change her last name to
this story is
Houshmandzadeh.
crazy. This is
the poor guy. He's never met her.
She's like, I want to be a Houshmandzadeh.
Why him? Why him?
I know.
Where is she from? Where is she from? Is she from
Not much
Cincinnati?
background. I would assume not much background.
Oh my God, dude, that's a wild one. It really is. That story.
Could you imagine? What asshole approved her to change her last name to Houshmandzadeh? She's like, hold on, I'm sorry.
He should be able to sue the state as well.
For letting them do that. What just happened? He's fighting currently to have it removed because he's like, I don't know, what do I have to do? Is this a trademark infringement? What do I have to do that some lady can't just take my name?
I would love if the person that was at the change of name office wasn't a football fan, and they're like, "You want to change your name to what?"
He was a Steelers fan.
All
he
right.
was a Steelers fan.
Yeah,
he was like, No problem, honey.
Yeah. Oh, you doing this to torture Houshmandzadeh? Fine. I
Yeah.
still remember that game in 07 where he
Guy
wrecked,
tortured
you
me.
know. Yeah. Dude, that Carson Palmer, him, Ocho Cinco, they had a running back. I think Tyler Eckert was the tight end, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Eckert was a beast. Yep.
Yeah, they had a great team.
They
dude.
did. They
Man.
did.
Dude, Ocho Cinco, that was his coming. Like he was
Ocho and
amazing.
Houshmandzadeh, especially because
They
everybody
were-
wanted to, they had a flex on Ocho Cinco. So
I
Hoosh
feel
got
like
one-on-one.
there's a-
He murked people for like 2 seasons where it was just balling.
Chris Henry too. The third guy was Chris Henry. Was the third
Mhm.
guy on that team. Man, they were really good.
And by the way, Henry was
Cedric
like
Benson.
6'5".
Cedric Benson was the
Yeah, he
running
was
back.
one of them. Yep, Cedric
Dude,
was there.
imagine
Yep.
that team. Wow.
They were good.
Dude,
They're
that's
really good.
wild. Yeah, damn. Shout out to them. Well, dude, this lady's
Shout out
crazy.
to
She took
Goofy
it to the
Broads.
next
She's
level.
so crazy.
That's wild.
Changing the last name that's like
Not just changing the last
she's
name.
next level, dude.
People
What
that
would
don't even know
possess someone to do this?
football know
Yeah.
Houshmandzadeh. Like it's just a
Yeah.
rare name of an
Yeah.
athlete. Like it's like
Yeah.
Andretti or some shit. I don't know.
Damn. All right. Well, damn. Shout out, fan of the show, listener of the show, Anne Marie Houshmandzadeh. Is that right? Dude, that was a classic commercial.
Yeah,
right?
Houshmandzadeh. Put him on the board.
Houshmandzadeh.
Put him on the board. It's so funny.
Love it. Nice. All right. Well, we're going to you, Liam. What do you got for sports and sped?
Guys, so I didn't even know he had one, but Brock Lesnar has a daughter. She's 21. Her name's Maya Lynn Lesnar.
Mhm.
Dude, she kind of looks like him, and she's yoked, and she goes to Colorado State University. She just broke their record for shot put with 18.5 meters. Dude, she's 21. She also ranked 1 at whatever the weight throw is at the Indoor Mountain West Championships. She's number 3 at shot put for the Indoor and Outdoor Conference Championships. But like, I guess not really much was known about her because a lot of it's like private because,
He's a very private guy.
Yeah. But like, so she posted it on her private Instagram account, but somebody leaked it and like put the photos out and everything. And like, dude, I didn't even know he had a daughter, and she's breaking all these records. Dude, she's a beast. Look at
dude.
For the people in the know, we absolutely knew, and they've been because I mean, she can't just go to a place like it's Colorado State, right?
Yeah, Colorado State. She goes to,
you can't just go to an enormous college like that. Be Brock Lesnar's daughter. And when they see Lesnar, when you pick up the picture, Matt, I mean, this broad is jacked.
Yeah.
So like,
know what the first thing that
went
and she
mess
looks
you up,
exactly
dude.
like him. Yeah.
The first thing that went to my mind was, dude, do you think she'll fight? Like one day, do you think she'll fight?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, she's also, do you remember Sable?
I remember Sable.
That's Brock Lesnar's wife.
So that's her daughter?
Yeah, so it's
You
Brock
think it's that
Lesnar
daughter?
and Sable. Yeah, isn't that's his only
I have no
baby
idea.
mama, isn't it?
Really?
no
I
idea
did
about
not know that.
It makes more sense now.
Brock
because
Lesnar's married to
Sable was an
Sable.
athlete.
Yeah, Sable
And
had
Brock's
like
a freak.
She was
Hell
like,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah. She was hot and jacked. Yeah.
no wonder the daughter. No wonder the daughter's
enormous.
breaking records. She's got some killer genes. You know.
Listen, yeah. I don't want to be mean, but God always lets us. You can't win at every sport. So he definitely didn't give her the Sable looks gene. He just gave her the athletic gene. I mean, if you've seen her, she almost looks albino.
First off, we're big fans of Brock Lesnar and support everything he does, and we think he has a wonderful family. And I don't want to say anything bad about Brock Lesnar.
You know what?
Or his
Your
daughter.
tattoo looks like a giant dick on your chest, and you ain't shit.
God.
Cut that.
Well, he's here right now. No.
Jesus Christ, cut that. Jesus
Never
Christ.
see Steve again.
Yo.
But why? Can we look? It's the rhino in the room. Does he not have the worst tattoo you've ever seen on his chest? He could have got.
It is so stupid.
It is terrible.
Yeah, that one is kind of.
What asshole did you let put a penis on your chest?
Was it supposed to be in like a knife,
sword,
like a sword or something?
A sword, yeah. It looks so big, and he was rich when he got it. Like,
yeah, it's not great. You're right. You're right.
You had money. You didn't get it in college.
Could you imagine being Mark Marrow, who was Sable's first husband? Right, like she left Mark Marrow to go be with Brock Lesnar.
Dude, you just chop that one up to like, what do you
do?
It is what it is. Some things in life are out of your control.
And that's one of them.
That becomes one of them.
Yeah,
dude.
you find out your wife is cheating on you with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You're like, well, it's not my wife anymore.
Yeah,
so
you just
there
be like,
you go.
yeah, let the cards fall where they may, dude, because that's You ain't doing nothing about that.
Yeah, dude, he like you heard the story of like of Brock Lesnar, like because he lives in like deep Canada in the middle of nowhere, and there's stories of like he takes his sons to the river, and they were like 5 and 6 years old, and he just threw them in the river, right, without teaching them how to swim, and like that's how you learn how to swim. You get thrown in the river,
Dude,
right? Like
imagine that's your dad.
that's the
Imagine
kind
that's
of
your
thing he
dad.
does. Well, imagine your dad's
That's
Brock
crazy.
Lesnar.
That's what I
You
mean.
know?
That's what I
Like-
mean. Imagine he like personally is your dad.
If
That's
you
nuts.
guys, we don't have to imagine too much, because if you just dummy and not quite Brock size, but very close, is The Rock. His dad. This is what his sons are gonna turn into. Remember how big his dad was, The Rock? Old school,
yeah.
like that.
I just
Rocky
watched
Johnson?
something on the
Yeah.
Rock.
Yes,
he was on Rogan, right?
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah,
on that.
that's where
Jacked.
that's where I watched it.
Rocky
His dad
Johnson sparred
was
with
a-
Ali and
Ali,
Foreman.
yep,
he
yep.
was a real,
And
he was
also-
a shoot fighter.
absolutely yoked in his prime.
Yeah,
Absolute specimen. Yeah, of course, his son
yeah.
that followed him around everywhere turned into the fucking
Well,
Rock.
do you know, like Teddy Atlas was
Yeah.
his tag team partner, and they were
Mhm.
both just monsters. They were the first
Absolutely
ever African American
jacked.
or first ever black tag
Yeah,
team champions.
Tag team
or whatever.
champions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
what
were-
sucks
dude.
is back then they didn't make shit. So
Yeah.
No,
they
you know what they
didn't get
made?
any
You know what they
money
made?
from it.
Enough money to get high, because
Yeah,
that's
enough
all
money
you.
to get
You're on the
by.
road,
No.
300 high,
It's-
not even
it's-
by.
It's well.
You're doing
documented.
drugs for the pain. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
doing drugs for
yeah.
the pain.
It's well documented that that The Rock's dad like kind of screwed over Vince on a deal and
Yes, he
got
did.
barred from WWE.
And got fucked for it. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
And
and
it
he
is
lost. He
so-
dude, they were the WWE.
So ironic he
at
becomes
the
how big he
time.
was.
Yeah, well, he was the WWF at the time. WWF tag team champions. WWF was the biggest ones. First ever black tag team champs. Like these guys were living like when he was with WWF, living high on the hog. Right, like doing great. They ran his family.
Easy
ran
on the grade.
Hawaii.
They lived in a small, like,
Dude,
apartment,
well, I
and
mean,
he was
like-
gone all the time. But yeah.
But like
He
no,
was the
at
star.
the time they ran the Hawaii territory, and
Right.
like he was doing really like able to like they had like a good life, you know what I mean? And like then he backstabs Vince. He goes from playing at Madison or performing at Madison Square Garden to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania at the flea market doing matches there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like so
Yeah.
like
Signing
that-
autographs.
His fall from grace went real bad, and that's like The Rock had to live through that. That's pretty tough, But I mean,
And what
they're
he do,
fine
he
now.
became the
They're all right
greatest.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became the richest man on earth.
Yeah.
Who legit, I mean, if you listen to the Rogan interview, he talks about, he doesn't say he was, they talked to him about being president, right? And how
So
like they
fucking corny.
presented the
The
results.
data.
Yeah.
The data.
They're like, dude,
Mhm.
he's popular enough and everyone hated everybody else. Like who the
They
fuck
wanted him to
knows?
run with Oprah. They wanted Oprah
to
to be the vice president to The Rock. What are we doing in America? What has happened?
Dude, I mean, they would have won. They would have won.
I don't-
100%.
But seriously, I don't want that to be what this like devolves into, and then like
I
our
know.
movie stars become who runs.
Right.
Taylor
everything.
Swift and
That's
fucking Travis
yeah.
Kelsey are next.
I mean, you
That
guys,
is
you
that is
guys
a
ever-
slippery slope.
I
if
mean,
I've
Here
ever
we
you
go.
guys- have you guys ever heard of a guy named Ronald Reagan?
Reagan smash.
I'm sorry. Have you
Yeah.
ever heard of a guy who played a piano with his dick? His name's Zelensky and is taking all your tax dollars. He literally became president, was a comedian, and there's footage of him in a comedic act playing the piano with his
With his
pistol.
dick.
He's
That actually
kinda
kinda makes me-
keys
That
with his
makes me.
wanger.
That kind of makes me like him. That he did.
Oh, he's
that.
fucking. He was
that's
actually
it,
funny.
yeah.
He was
He's-
funny.
yeah.
He was funny.
But I'm
Is that-
saying, like,
That
you
sounds
know,
funny.
a movie star has been president before and was
Not
successful.
a movie star. He was smacking.
No,
Name a
Reagan
movie
was
star.
a movie star.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, name a guy who pulls his dick out and beats it off piano keys.
I mean, but he's
and then
also-
becomes the
dude,
president of his country
Dude, he's also in Eastern Europe. That's a weird.
within 10 years. Within 10 years, he playing the piano with his dick. Next thing you know, he's getting $100 billion from
Dude,
America.
He was playing piano with his dick on a show where he was a regular guy that became president. And then
That's so
10
wild,
years,
yo.
he was a regular guy that became president, and
Wait.
we lost $6 billion to him.
We,
Hold on.
we accidentally gave.
No,
Yeah.
there's a bull.
Yeah,
There's a
what the
bull in
fuck?
Argentina who puts all of them to shame. The guy who just won in Argentina is a fucking psycho. We'll talk about him next week.
Oh, yeah.
You
All
have
right.
my word.
All right.
But he's
cool.
he
All right.
he definitely doesn't get $100 billion from America. That's
right.
the ultimate OG.
Yeah. So, all right, we are coming to the top of time. Steve, before we get out of here, what do you got?
In case you didn't know, wrestling kicked off last week in high school wrestling, youth wrestling.
Nice.
It's all full bore, ready to go. So shout out to all the youngins that actually have the cojones and the pishfindel to step on a mat with another person and be able to take a loss, a win, figure it out, and not have to rely on your nut-ass teammates on some touch-butt basketball shit or any other sport. Shout out wrestling. If you don't know, now you know.
Nice. Love it. Very good. Awesome. And then Lishmoosh, what do you got before we get out of here?
Speaking of the Utes, shout out to the
I'm sorry, what did you say? What
The
was that?
Utes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The two
So-
Utes.
Shout out to the North Penn Squires. Their varsity competition team took first in Hershey.
Let's
All
go.
right.
For the 12 and unders. No, let me finish. That was the 12 and unders. My daughter was in the 10 and unders. And speaking of like having to rely on your team and everything, my daughter had to learn a very valuable lesson
Yep.
over the weekend. So they
Not everybody wins.
well, no, they placed fourth in their group. And like my daughter, like they did like a really good routine. They nailed it and everything. And then they have what's called these stunt groups. And at the end, you got to like hoist the chick up and do all that stuff. And there's 4 of them in a line. My daughter's group, like they executed, the next one executed, but then one of the groups put the girl up and she came down. So, you know what I mean? Like they would have placed higher. They would have possibly won. But since they failed that stunt at the end, they dropped down and got 4th. And like I kind of had to like tell her, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you do everything right. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
It
you
don't
still
work out.
win.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you're on a team, it happens, but they still have 2 more competitions left. She's 9. She's got so many more of these ahead of her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But on the good note, like you know what I mean, like the other girls, like the Squires still won while they were there. You know,
Hell yeah.
which is a good thing. So, you know, shout out to those kids.
Shout
All
out to
all
Squires.
all the families and
dude,
everything.
that's
Shout
great, man. That's awesome,
Yep.
dude. Love that. Very much love that. Very good. Well, shout out to North Penn Squires. And speaking of football, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, coming today by the one and only Strong Stem Steve Cabot and Lishmadzadeh Liam Reese. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You have us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. And you can join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com. And please like, subscribe so we keep bringing you sweet, sweet content. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Thanks.
Dallas sucks.
Dallas sucks.
They do.